Thank you for joining myself and Lou from Zoono. We are talking about bacteria, and bacteria is everywhere. And we know that bacteria is on things like toilet seats, and we always think, well, who's been there before us? But actually, bacteria is on things like door handles. You said remote controls are some of the worst places for bacteria, and it's dangerous to ourselves and also to our children. But here today, first time in New Zealand, Zoono Personal Care has arrived. And this is an antibacterial product range that combats all the others. So to start with then, Lou, tell me what's in this bundle.
Well, this particular bundle contains a family pack, which is a foamer.
Yeah.
It contains a 250ml packs, and it also contains some athlete's foot product, which we'll come to, and also some personal products that you can tuck in your pocket and take wherever you want to go.
And these remove bacteria?
Absolutely.
OK, so we all know that there are antibacterial sprays, wipes, etc. out there on the market. What's the difference? What do the other ones not do? OK,
when I grew up many moons ago, we had household brands of hand sanitisers, and you put them on the hands and you'd rub them in, and did they work? Absolutely.
Yeah. Until
you touched something. Because if the thing you touched hadn't been treated, automatically you'd recontaminate yourself. So for maximum protection, you'd need to be applying the traditional brand of hand sanitiser time after time after time right throughout the day. Our product is water-based, bonds to the skin, only comes off with natural exfoliation, so it lasts for 24 hours. 24 hours? Indeed.
And we're talking about a product that's, what, 90% safe?
Well, it's the product is 99.9%.
Oh, 99.9?
Kills bacteria. Look, all the Zoono products, we've got a range of products all with the same active ingredient. Everywhere we go, we're asked for test results.
Okay.
So we have test results done in all sorts of countries. So no one can ever say, oh, you've got a pet lab doing the work for you.
Yeah.
So we have tests in New Zealand and Australia, Singapore, Turkey, Germany, UK, USA, you name it, and we have test results done that make sure the claims we make about efficacy and longevity, they're all backed up.
So the next question is, how is it tested?
How is it tested?
Yeah.
Well, there are two ways really that you can test for the presence of a pathogen or the non-presence, and I'll show you.
Right.
One of them is that you'll take a swab on a surface, and you'll transfer the material, if you like, off that swab, put it into an agar plate, and you put it in an oven and you incubate it for 2 days.
Right.
Well, that's great, but you haven't got 2 days to wait.
No, we've not got long, actually.
Touché. So the other method we'll use, and I just scored someone's phone on the way in here, so thank them very much for that. In terms of the ATP machine, we'll just turn it on, we'll take a swab, and we will also do a before and after, so you'll get an idea of what the product does, and more importantly, what it doesn't do. All right. So
this is going to show how much bacteria is on there to start with, and then it's going to show, hopefully, a bit of a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So here's what we'll do.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to turn that then, so we can see. So this is the first swab. This is pre any Zoono personal care products. Yeah. Don't worry about that. Pop it in there.
Now that's just counting down from 24.
Yeah. Oh.
As soon as it gets to 0, we'll just pop it into there.
Yeah.
And it counts down from 15 seconds, and it'll give us a reading.
And this will tell us what? How much bacteria?
Tells us how many, or how much nasty, if you like, was on the surface of that particular phone. All right. So we'll go into here. It's just counting down 6, 5,
2, 1.
Indeed.
So how is Zoono different then from other sanitisers?
How is it different?
Yeah.
Traditional hand sanitisers have very high alcohol, and the problem with that is that if you think back to many moons ago again, when people came up with products that killed bacteria, there were two methods. One was poison, and the second was a very high alcohol content. And the products worked, but the problem was that over a period of time, bacteria built up a resistance. It's no different to you and I when we had shots as kids. So the same principle applies. So 1% active worked, but then unfortunately the bacteria built up a resistance, so the manufacturers had to put in 2% active, and we had this leapfrogging effect. That's why we have the problem today called superbugs.
Right.
Now, one of the superbugs, which is on everyone's tongue at the moment,
Yeah.
and you have to repeat this after me,
Okay.
it's methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, MRSA.
I've got no chance, basically,
Good on
but
you.
it sounds horrific.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a strain of staph that resists traditional antibiotics.
Okay.
And in fact, in some hospitals now, they have to use antibiotics of last resort. So it's a very serious problem.
Yeah.
So protection against bacterial pathogen
Yeah.
is huge. All right?
And actually, one of the ways that bacteria spread the most is hands, isn't it?
Absolutely. Things like norovirus, which again,
Yeah.
everyone understands about noro, that's transmitted by touch.
Okay.
So we'll just go back. Okay, on the phone,
Yeah.
we had a reading of 582. Now, that's not a horror story because
Okay.
I've seen them up around 1700.
Really?
100 is clean, 30 is food safe. So what we'll do now...
30, so that's not food safe. That
No.
mobile phone is not food safe. That's absolutely horrific. And just think the amount of phone calls you make every single day, and God forbid you ever borrow somebody else's phone. People take it to the toilet. People don't leave their mobile phones alone. Whereas now you've just sprayed on some of the Zoono, haven't
Correct.
you?
Correct. Zoono, you normally just apply it as a mist or as a spray. I've
Yeah.
just used an atomizer, which has just got a very fine spray so
Okay.
it'll dry quicker.
So let's have a look
I'll
and
put
see
it on
what
there.
this one does.
Now we'll do an after.
I'm shocked. I'm just going through my head of all the different areas that could be just riddled with bacteria. I mean, kids at school, if your child's ever had the norovirus, that is absolutely disgusting. But this can help protection against it.
Absolutely, for a full 24 hours.
That's so every day before school, a child would give themselves a little bit of a squirt on the way out the door.
Absolutely.
And then they're protected for 24 hours.
Absolutely.
So how safe in terms of toxicity is it?
Everything on the planet has a toxicity rating, including water.
Yeah.
So our product has a toxicity level about the same as vitamin C. Okay? Now
Okay,
you
no
won't
need
be
to
doing
show
that.
off.
You won't be doing that with a product that you find at home.
But
all
you
right?
can spray
Until
that in
you've
your
got this.
mouth?
Absolutely.
That's how safe... that's just unbelievable. Now, what are the top 10 worst places that you are likely to find bacteria?
Well, in the home, the usual suspects are things that are all common user, places where everyone in the family will touch, remote controls, places in the kitchen, light switches, buttons,
Yeah.
telephones. If there is a laptop that's shared by the whole family,
Oh, well, they all
it's
are,
notorious
aren't they?
for it. Keyboards, terrible places. So there are a lot of places in the home where literally you have to be extra careful.
I'm going to be walking around pressing everything with my little knuckle now.
So you should. Now, just to give you an idea, we
Yeah.
did a reading before on the mobile phone. We've just treated it, and we've got another reading now.
Now, what was the reading before? It was something about 500, wasn't it?
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
The reading now is 16. Now, to put that into perspective, 30 is food safe.
That is
So that's a fabulous reading.
unbelievable. You and your whole family can be protected and can rid the fear of touching handles, touching keyboards, touching mobile phones for a full 24 hours. You are entirely safe. And this is a product which has hit the world by storm. Now, explain with the athlete's foot, how does that one work?
Look, we've all had athlete's foot from time to time.
Yeah.
It's a fungi, and it can be a real problem. You pick it up on carpets, believe it or not necessarily just changing rooms around swimming pools or spas or the gym. So the best thing to do with this product is sit on the side of the bed just before you leap into bed at night.
Yeah.
Spray the toes, make sure that it gets in between. It's a clear product, but then you can jump into bed. It's not going to upset the bedding, it's not going to stain, it's not going to cause any problems there at all.
Yeah.
But the transformation will be astounding. And if people have to apply that a second time, that would be an exceptional case. Most people can use it once.
Because that's a problem, isn't it? Especially
Big
with
problem.
kids and, you know, maybe if you've been to the gym recently or you've been sweating a bit, you know, that's when we develop things like the fungal infections. And, you know, so this one protects against bacteria like the norovirus.
Absolutely.
And also you mentioned the one that I can't pronounce.
MRSA, we'll call it.
Yeah, that we will. MRSA, that suits me fine. But there's a whole heap of other bacterias that it's going to help resist against.
Absolutely. When you think about bacteria, we normally think of E. coli. Everyone understands a little bit about E. coli. Norovirus, H1N1, of course, it was highly topical globally, if you like, just a few years ago. It also works very well against mould, against yeast. and it gets fungi.
And I want to know how it does work, and we've got a little bit of info on you, so have a look at this. Now, do you want to describe to us what's actually happening here?
Absolutely. When Zoono is applied to a surface, it's like a little bed of microscopic pins that if you look through an electron microscope, you'd see these little pins. And the difference is that the bacteria will land on these pins and will literally be ruptured. It's a process very similar to that of a pin popping a balloon. And best of all, once, and you know what it's like if a balloon has ever popped, you can't reform it, you can't use it again. And it's exactly the same thing with bacterial pathogens.
And this lasts for a full 24 hours. Now, does it smell?
Absolutely not.
Doesn't smell funny. Now, what happens if I've got sensitive hands?
It's a very good question. Part of our research before we launched this product was to have the product not only tested for efficacy and longevity to back up the claims that we can make, we also looked for a lab around the world that could look at the dermatology aspects of the product. And we did that. We had to send it to Germany. And in Germany, they took 30 people, older folk, younger folk, different skin types, redheads, blondes, and they made sure that they all used the product in the identical way. The upshot was that there was zero reaction,
so
absolutely
this is
zero.
So this is actually for, I suppose, you know, any kind of skin can use this, whether you've got sensitive skin or whether your skin's not sensitive. It's going to assist you in the same way as it will assist everybody. It's going to protect the whole family for 24 hours. Whereas if you have got an antibacterial product at home, the chances are that's not going to last any time at all. Is it right that if you were to wash your hands, you wash it off?
Absolutely
Whereas
correct.
with this one, when does it actually come off?
Natural exfoliation. Normal, and exfoliation depends on the amount of exercise and all that sort of stuff, right? So the claims that we have 24-hour can be totally backed up. Some people won't shed all of their skin, slayer all their skin for approximately 70 hours. So it is hand on heart for 24 hours. It works. It's safe.
And easy to use. This I can see being used for travel. It can be used as a stay-at-home pump. You can give it to the kids to take to school with them. You could leave one of them in the car. You could leave it in the office. Leave it at your batch. This product works. It's been tested all over the world. Make sure you and your family are protected from bacteria because no one wants you to be poorly any time of the year. Thanks very much, Lou.
You're welcome.